evening and welcome to the Super License F1 podcast. My name's Rodney.
And my name is Zach.
How you going, Zach? It says right there on the screen, Zach. I know
Says
who
Zach.
you are and I know who I am. It's great.
Finally, the pleasantries are out of the way. I'm well.
Enough
I
of
was just
that.
watching our beautiful video intro there for a second, and I've also got the Formula One website homepage up. And Jaime Alguersuari is gracing the front page, is there, having said that he's backing Liam Lawson and saying he kind of just turned into a crap racer after 2 races. But I couldn't take my eyes off the fact that he's looks a lot like the guy in some of the frames in our intro, the AI generated frames.
Well, you know, I mean, I'm not saying that the AI did that and it's on purpose. I'm not saying it.
Jaime Alguersuari, the man who taught us all we were saying Jamie wrong.
Yeah, who knew? And Alguersuari wrong.
Alguersuari, that's a good one. I feel like the names are disappointing us these Formula One years. We need more fun.
What are the
Joe
best
by New
names?
was a good one.
Yeah, that's true. I can't think of any other, I mean, I always go back to Stoffel Van Dorn. Was pretty good. Stoffel, and then what are the other good names? I mean, even Jean Alesi, it's very simple, but it always just it encapsulates the elegance that I associate with Formula One and Ferrari.
I'm convinced that we all called Valtteri Bottas Valtteri because it felt more finished. Bottas felt particularly unfinished, even though it is a finished name. It felt unfinished, not done. Whereas Kimi Raikkonen, that feels... Raikkonen's got a really good, that's finish. So
it's true. Well, anyway, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on the Super License Name Check podcast. This is we're going to be talking about the big news about the Red Bull driver swaps. Obviously, that's the big thing everyone wants us to talk about. So I just want to put it up top that we're going to talk about that. We'll get there.
Oh, absolutely.
But other than that, the other things that we have to cover in the intro, Zach, what have you been up to? What's news? What's been going on?
Going to act like we didn't spend 40 minutes talking to each other
before
this show started. Really big news. I really looked after myself for the Chinese Grand Prix. I made overnight oats. I'm all about the overnight oats now. And this is really annoying because another podcast I just listened to was a sports podcast that I love, the Ask Blog. When there's no football on, they do a podcast called the Waffle Podcast, where the two of them just sit around talking about everything but football. And they really went in on overnight oats. And having just discovered them myself, I felt like I was a real outsider. Have you been othered by a podcast that you're not a guest on? That you're like, oh, I've been called out by 2 people that I really like. But
tell me more about this. They were like, if you're not into overnight oats, and if you've never been into overnight oats, well, then you're just not living right. You just shit at life. Was it something like that?
They were saying it is bullshit, and that overnight oats should not be a thing. And why do people like them? And this is also stupid. Why don't you just cook porridge like a regular human? I thought it was really mean.
Here's a fun thing, Zach, that I could tell you. This is some advice. Those are just 2 guys on a podcast, and you don't have to listen to them. Who cares what they think? And I say that
guys on a podcast,
being incredibly well aware of what I'm doing right now.
That's unfair because we're just 2 guys on a podcast, and you know that everyone listens to our advice. Anyway,
that's true.
I looked after myself for the Chinese Grand Prix. Made myself a little treat, some overnight oats. But do you want to hear my secret little ingredient, Rod, to improve your overnight oats? Couple of teaspoons of Milo in there, mate.
Oh, yeah.
That'll change the freaking game. Oh, it's like a little chocolate treat first thing in the morning. And also stick that container in the microwave as well for a minute. Warm up those overnight oats. Ooh.
Yeah. Milo is my secret ingredient in an iced coffee. But is it easy to get Milo over there? Have I asked you this before?
It's become much easier. Also, Tim Tams are on special for £2, which is $4, $4 dues. That's cheaper than Australia. So I don't know what you guys are doing over there. But Milo, because Milo's a big hit in Indonesia and into Southeast Asia. So,
if it's anywhere that imports all that stuff, they also import that.
Yeah, it's not with there is no Australia aisle at the big Sainsbury's, but there is broadly Asian aisle. So you find all this great Indian food, great Korean food, great Malay food, all this kind of stuff, and your Milo's in there. And it's a little treat, little surprise. When I first saw them, I was like, I recognize that little green tin. My old friend. I know
this little skateboarding guy.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Milo and your overnight oats, everybody. Or whatever. I don't know what it is. Malt, chocolate, something like that.
Yeah. You could also sprinkle it on vanilla ice cream, which is also, it goes hard on there.
Excellent, because it keeps a little bit of the crunch. You don't want a full dissolve. That's the thing. Oh, man.
So true.
Excellent. Excellent.
Well,
how are you?
Great. Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks too. Anyway, so we're also going to talk about No, I'm fine. You know, I'm renovating, watching movies, working, and working on lots of things. It's just all the things. I've been a real content production machine lately, pumping out lots of stuff for this and pumping out lots of things for all my other things. So I don't know. You don't want me to go in those. All right, fine. There's Talking Head stuff. Talking Head's podcasting YouTube account. My gosh, lots of stuff
Oh
going
my
out for that.
god. Yeah. If you don't know about Talking Heads, you should.
Mhm.
And Rod will
If
tell
you
you all about them.
if you want to know way more than you
Everything.
ever wanted to know,
About anything.
yeah, literally too much. If you ever wanted to know too much about a thing, I got you covered.
More like Stalking Heads.
Yeah, I know that one song. Yeah, sure. The best is when people say they like them and then they get the song names wrong, and it's like, oh no.
I'm not going to pretend I know that much about them.
Now I love Talking Heads. My favorite song is that it's called "Letting the Days Go By." That's the name of the song, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's not. It's not called that.
No.
Anyway, enough about that all crap. Listen, we've got.
You know,
some
it's
stuff
actually
to talk
pronounced
about.
Jaime Alguersuari.
Yeah, extra high, more like goodbye, me Alguersuari.
Oh,
so
shit.
Anyway, serious talk.
Oh, what a hard segue to make.
Serious.
Mm.
I thought Eddie
Yeah,
Jordan's
of course.
passing, we should, I don't know, say what we remember of him and our impressions of him. Obviously, a bit of a sad story, a bit of a character lost. It's a bit like if someone, I mean, Jackie Stewart's still around, but it's like someone of that caliber being like Jackie Stewart, like, oh no, that day that he goes, that'll be a sad one too. But Eddie Jordan for a long time for me was like, oh yeah, he achieved a lot. Bit of a colorful character. Then he became, I don't even know, maybe too colorful. But undoubtedly, he did a lot for the sport, enriched it. It enriched him many times over. But I think a bit of a loss. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely a loss. There are kind of stalwarts of Formula One and Formula One history. There is this era of Formula One, this kind of 80s into the 90s era, where I think that if you were to take out the like 60s Monaco graphics, then maybe the next most famous era visually is that late 80s into the 90s period, that 7-Up Jordan racing car. Like there are the kind of iconography of that period is actually very fashionable right now as well. You see people, young people who don't know anything about Formula One walking around in like Renault jackets, and you're like, where the fuck did you get that from? Amazing. Or like I was in a shop the other day in Milan, and I was in a secondhand clothing store and picked up, it was a Marlboro shirt, but doesn't say Marlboro on it. It was just Marlboro design, like the Marlboro brand stuff, like really fun yellow shirt, but it was a Marlboro tag. I was like, what the fuck?
Whoa.
But yeah, I know, right? But I think there's this iconic, like slightly washed out, like period of Formula One that looks so specific, and Eddie Jordan is in all of those photos.
Yeah,
like he is that guy. And then he became more eccentric, and he always wore colorful clothes, and everyone around Formula One has a good thing to say about him. I never met him.
No.
But when you lose people like this in the sport, it's always sad.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, miss you, EJ. And yeah, I think that's it. So anyway, the big story. I'm going to turn our names off so that everyone knows who we are now. Yuki Tsunoda, Zach.
Finally.
Like he's had a bit of an eventful week.
Oh. Okay. Man, I hope we really get into this.
Where do we start here?
I think we start. Let's start with let me ask you a question to start things off. Is this about promoting Yuki Tsunoda, or is this about demoting Liam Lawson in your mind?
I guess it's hard to say that it's about promoting Yuki Tsunoda. Like if Liam Lawson had done well, they wouldn't be promoting Yuki Tsunoda, would they? Is that what you think?
Yeah, I think that's what everyone thinks. I think that's what happened. I think that Liam Lawson underperformed, but I also think that Yuki is maybe overperforming a little bit too. He's been there for a while now. I think he's showing himself to be quite a good driver. And it's a shame that it's taken. I don't think Red Bull are particularly good at spotting. I'm about to say this. I don't think Red Bull are particularly good at spotting talent. I think they've been lucky twice. And that's it. They go through so many drivers that, yeah, eventually, what do they say? The broken clock's right. twice a day, and they did it with Vettel. They did it with Verstappen. Congratulations, you have found no one else. All the people you did find would have been found by the Formula One machine, including Jaime Alguersuari. So that's the last time I'm going to say.
Well, I mean, the other thing you could say, the others that had maybe not top tier talent, but some talent, they weren't able to mold them into anything that could deploy any of that and translate it into results. So what does that say about Red Bull as an operation?
Yeah, as a program these days, I don't know if it works, and I'm also unsure that the way they've been doing it, which is just like that works with Vettel and Verstappen. Throw young drivers into the mix. They are generational talents. They could have done it anywhere, and Red Bull's a really good car and a good operation, right? But I don't think you can continue to throw like 19-year-olds at a Formula One team and hope eventually one sticks, because you just break careers. And so Tsunoda, he had a couple of spins to begin with, but like, I find it difficult to think about him as a driver other than just like applying himself, taking the feedback when he got it and being like, I'm going to work really hard at this.
Yeah.
And he's there, and he probably should have, I really think he probably should have got the promotion to the Red Bull team. Why did they fuck around with Liam Lawson?
Everybody thinks that. It's clear that they just wanted Liam Lawson to work. And unfortunately, they put him in there and he didn't work. And so there was no excuses left. There was no covering for it. It wasn't just that he did a bit badly. It was that he was last in like so many qualifying sessions and stuff.
Obviously, his state is bad too, right?
Not really showing any signs of improvement. I know it was only 2 races and 1 sprint, but like just, when you're last, it's very hard to justify that. And then I wonder whether something else happened off track and it was his attitude or something. Whether just something, he showed up and they were like, look at this guy, he's like another bad boy. And then I don't know, but I just wonder whether there was something off track as well that might have made it so quick. Because even for them, and even though he did terribly, 2 races is still very short. It was literally like from 4 p.m. one Sunday afternoon Australian time was the start of the Australian Grand Prix. 8 p.m. the following Sunday was the end of the Chinese Grand Prix. That week and 4 hours was the time that Liam Lawson was a Red Bull racing driver.
Red Bull driver.
Although I did think of a new, that like saddest 6-word story.
Oh yeah.
For sale. Yeah. Awesome race suit. Won twice. Sad, man.
Oh man. Yeah. He said, how tall is he? Would his race suit fit me? How tall is Liam Lawson? How tall?
He's not even as tall as Verstappen, right? And then Verstappen's no giant.
In feet? I was just centimeters would have been fine. 174. What?
Really?
Well, 5'8" is not 174. 184. I'm 184. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it'd be a little short on me. That's a shame.
I mean, it's baggy on Yuki, I'm sure, but I guess maybe they'll get him another one.
No, let's Photoshop him into a new suit. That's how that works, right?
Love that.
It's like the Matrix. Whatever happens in Photoshop happens to you in real life.
I think Ferrari were caught photoshopping Hamilton because people were like, Lewis Hamilton quite famously has like tats all over his hands and fingers, and this guy doesn't. So what's going on there?
I think there was some drone shots of like Hamilton and Leclerc having like coffee at a castle or something like that, and it definitely wasn't them.
Oh,
it was just completely, totally stand-in.
Bowser's castle. I think this is a Photoshop.
Oh, Studio Ghibli personas. Anyway, so I have a different question for you then.
All right,
I want to keep talking about this. If Red Bull didn't have a second team, would they have just completely fired Liam Lawson, or would they have stuck with him longer to make it work? Because other teams find this. Drivers don't do so well. They can't just sack them and put them in. Because I'm not sacking you. I'm putting you into my other team that's actually outperforming you anyway. Maybe you'll do better.
There's always someone in the wings though, right? And it's either their reserve driver or another reserve driver for another team. And they're like, actually, we have an option on that person, so we're going to pull them in. And then this person, I guess, goes to become a test driver because everyone else's reserve driver spot's already filled.
Yeah.
I mean, Helmut Marko made some comment like, people are reacting about how tough we are and how rough we're being on Liam Lawson. We're actually saving his career because, he's still going to be driving in Formula One. Yeah. And look what happens to all these other guys that we bring into Red Bull and then drop. They all go on to do great. So we're actually saving his career. It's like, sure, mate. Okay. Righto, Stooge.
Righto, Stooge. God, I haven't had that in a while. But yeah, that's exactly it. Oh, man. I don't know. It's tough
The
because...
question, go on, yeah.
No, you go. You go.
I was
What
going
were
to
you
say
gonna
you finish that, then I've got another question for you.
Okay. I mean, it's tough because it makes Yuki's work seem like he's just the next guy on the rank, the next camera, but he genuinely wasn't because Liam Lawson just jumped in front of him. So
Yeah,
it's
because
not
if he was, he would
really,
have been.
it's not really a system. It is just
No,
vibes over at Red Bull,
it's
and
very vibes based.
It's so vibes based. I mean, the most vibes man ever, Helmut Marko, who's also a dickhead as well, which
Yeah.
is confirmed. He's doing so many things to confirm that for us. I was chatting to a colleague at work who follows the sport very closely, and she said something very similar to what you just said before, which is that at what point do you just start questioning Red Bull's operation? The car is kind of weird and has been for another season. Like, was weird last season too. And turns out Perez probably did a pretty good job considering how hard Max found it. And then, and I saw you talking about Alex Albon's comments about how Red Bull builds their cars quite pointy. And so then to just ask Liam Lawson to do it and to not be very good. And Max has kind of had a rough time too, but still pulled them out of the bag. But this is one of the greatest drivers of all time trying to pull it out of the bag. And so there's so much infighting behind the scenes. Adrian Newey's not there anymore. What is it about Red Bull that makes them brilliant right now? And what's going to make them brilliant next season too? Because if it's just Max, that's pretty thin. And they've always traditionally, when they were really good, had a pretty good second driver in the car as well. And I wonder if young drivers now are going to, no one will ever look Formula One in the eye and turn down a seat. But would you really want to be the second driver at Red Bull, or would you rather be the best driver at ECARB or Racing Bulls? What are they called? The good Red Bull team, as it turns out.
Yeah, this is what I'm worried about with Yuki. Is like great that he got the opportunity to go there, but it's like on the one hand, everybody is saying the whole problem here is Red Bull's car setup, and that second seat is a poison chalice. It's fine for Max, but everybody else that goes there, it's like a third rail, and it just fries them. So yeah, like at the same time, I accept that there's an element of truth in that, but at the same time, sending Yuki there, it's a bit like sending. It's like, what are we sending him into? Like, into sending him to the slaughter. I hope he does really well. I'm worried. Famously, you had a text summary that said this. I'm glad that Yuki got his chance, but I'm worried that he might not do so well. And then what's going to happen?
Yeah, and it's so hard. It's not the same car. It is not the same team. Everything changes. He walks into Japan, the most important race on his calendar, right? He is Japanese. It is, his sponsors are there. Honda's there.
Extremely the Honda boy.
He's all Honda all the time. Yuki's a Honda. And so he's like, none of his mates are going to be in the garage, his engineer, all that kind of stuff. They're all over at RB taking care of business, and he's got to fit into this new team. He wants to, we know what kind of guy he's like from Drive to Survive and his own media that he puts out. He's going to be himself and put his stamp on the role, and he feels like he deserves it. I'm sure that's just conjecture. I don't know how he feels. He didn't text me this week. He's busy. And so
rude.
Really, well, he's got a lot on. You know what? Yeah. Liam didn't text me either. So, whatever. But it's not going to be easy. And this Red Bull doesn't seem particularly easy to drive. So I don't know what we should be expecting. I might not expect him to do any better in this car this week than if he'd been in the Racing Bull.
It'll be the yardstick against Lawson, because if Yuki can get the car into like Q3 or something, for example, everyone will be like, even if he finishes P10, like qualifies P10, they'll be like, well, Lawson was qualifying P20. So there's the proof. Sure, he's not on the second row like Max is, but I mean, there's the proof that he was always better.
Exactly. So if he gets a point this week, I think that's a win. I think Liam Lawson might be better than Hadjar, but we'll see. Hadjar's had a pretty good run of it too.
I don't know which way Lawson's going to go, but he's going to be angry. He's going to be embarrassed and hurt. And I feel like he will turn that hurt into aggression. And I wonder whether that's his style of driving and whether it suits him.
Leads to the dark side of the force. So
maybe. And I feel like it's what we were talking about last time, I think, about what it's like mentally to step into a team and have Max Verstappen be your teammate and think, well, he's the guy that I've got to beat, or at least keep pace with, as opposed to just going and doing your best and deploying.
Yeah.
So going back to Racing Bulls, I'm sure he will think I can put Hajar away easily. So I'm just going to do my own thing, and the results will then talk for themselves, and they probably will.
Yeah. But
I
to what
wouldn't be.
end?
So,
Like, what? To get the Red
well,
Bull seat back at next season?
well,
No
I
way.
don't know. I mean, so this is the question I was going to ask you: is they bring Liam Lawson into the Red Bull team, 2 races later he's out. They put in Tsunoda, great, awesome, cool, and what Mako says, this is it. Yuki's in. Like, it's not a case of we're trying him. Yuki is in. He will be there at the end of the year. But can you trust that?
Well, they wanted that 10 million pounds or whatever, 20 million pounds supposedly from 20 million euros from Honda to make that switch. They were going to juice the contract. And now they've been like, what if we put him in for Japan this weekend? Would you double juice the contract? And they're like, yes, please. Of course we would. I'm sure that they're not stupid enough to sign that contract and be like, but you know, if you only have one race, I'm sure it's fine. I think that they've probably decided. And I think a few teams, and we could come back to this, might have decided this season might already be done for them.
Could be.
And that it's about just showing a little bit of face now and take all of that money and put it into 2026. That cool new season that's just over the hill.
Cool new season.
Over there.
At the sexy new time of January 1st, 2026.
Exactly.
The weird thing too about this whole thing was how strong the rumor was that Colapinto would be stepping in at Racing Bulls instead of Lawson, and that never happened. Just so strong, and I wonder what was going on there. Could have been a management play. You always famously hear about like, oh, so and so is like very close to inking a deal with someone else, so you better give them some more money. But the word has always been that Colapinto is going to step in at Alpine for Doohan. I wonder whether there was something going on there. I mean, what was what's his name? The manager, the old guy that everyone fucking hates.
In Formula One?
You have to narrow it down.
Let me pull out the list. Man, which one? Which team?
You're making me the guy at Alpine. Briatore, yeah.
Oh my god, I pulled it. Flavio.
Of course you did. I'm running on so little sleep, it's not even funny.
Man, Flavio Briatore. Speaking of Eddie Jordan, there's another man who is in a lot of photos of that period.
But it's also one of those things like, oh really? EJ and not Briatore? Come on, man. Anyway, was someone pulling strings for Colapinto to say like, no, we're just going to juice his Alpine offer even more or something like that. I don't know. It's just a weird one.
It is a weird one. I think your call is exactly right. I think that when a seat is up for grabs, you put the PR machine into motion and you start feeding to the Daily Telegraph. Hello, actually, my boy, this guy is going to get that job. Put that out there,
thing
please.
About leaking something to the Daily Telegraph is you don't have to call them, you just write it in your notes app, and then the next thing you know, it's a headline news.
Straight into your phone. Don't worry about
that. Yeah, time to change your passwords, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, well, should we move on?
Any final thoughts? Do you want to make some bets? I think he's going to be
there. I want to know, Japanese Grand Prix, who's going to qualify higher, Lawson in the Racing Bull or Yuki in the Red Bull? What's the spread on that?
I think the Racing Bull's easier to drive, but he hasn't been driving it. Whereas Tsunoda's in form, and even if he's just like got a better team, more resources, they would have stuck him in the simulator as soon as they decided he's been in the simulator full time. He's been sitting in his race seat.
Lawson has stepped in at Racing Bull at the last minute and done pretty well.
Yeah, okay, but his confidence is rocked. You know, he's got something to prove. Too aggressive. You know, drive straight to his teammate.
Or is it like, nah, Yuki's going to easily do it? I don't know.
I think the spread's more like, I'd put it more 70-30.
In Yuki's favor?
Yeah. Yeah.
It might be closer.
Just fine.
I guess the thing is like, how many grid spots between the two?
Yeah, let's do that. How many grid spots between the two?
Closest without going over. Actually, you can't go over. Closest wins are Milo. Tina Milo.
Yeah, Tina Milo. Man, these are high stakes. I like it.
I reckon it's 3 spots between.
I was going to say 4 spots.
You can't. I've already said 3.
Okay, 4. Perfect. 5 spots. It's 5. It's going to be 5 spots. Yeah, he can't go over, as you said.
That's what I was saying. So what if it's 4 spots? Because then we've got a dead heat. We'll make another bet next week.
4 spots. What happens if it's 4 spots? We'll call it a draw. Yeah.
Okay. So I reckon it's 3. Either way. Like, I mean, most likely Yuki in front, but I mean, either way. But I reckon three
I think
good
Yuki's
spots.
just going to have a great. He's a good times guy. He's going to have a great weekend. He's going to string it all up, string it all together. It's going to be great. I told you, I'm ready for main character Yuki. It's been a long time coming, but we deserve it. We've prayed to all the right gods, and we finally got Yuki Tsunoda. Beautiful little Red Bull suit, but it's a crappy looking car. Man, he was so good at. I mean, this is what you want in your mid tier teams. You want characters. Now he's getting sucked into the machine.
Imagine if he gets podium.
Yeah, well, I mean, we go wild. The Campires go mad. I have a different question for you regarding that team. Are all 4 drivers at that team going to finish at those in the Red Bull stable by the end of the season?
So you're saying, is the Red Bull lineup going to be at the end of the year? Max Verstappen, Yuki Tsunoda, Liam Lawson, is Isaac Hadjar in any of the teams?
Yeah. Max could be 4th in that. But any configuration.
I mean, they have got someone waiting in the wings. I would be surprised if they. I would be surprised if they drop Lawson though.
Yeah.
So I think if it's going to happen, it would be Hadjar, and I can't see it happening on current form. But we're only 2 races in, so who knows?
Okay. Yeah, man. They want to change it after 2 races. Loads of people in the wings, man. Loads of people.
Yep, and they're all great.
And they're all great.
Bull, they know how to spot them.
Yeah,
they really do. Just they don't get the credit that they deserve.
Yeah, and people are never desperate to leave the team when they finally do it. It's not like they would just literally go anywhere else.
I'm just going to also mention that the race this weekend is 3 p.m. my local time, so that's fantastic.
Oh,
love this leg of the season.
Do you actually, or do you find it's a day wrecker? Because what are you going to do? 3 p.m. is pretty good.
Try and 1 p.m. with that crap. You love it when it's 2 p.m. your time and whatever. So
Yeah, you can't do anything. You can't do anything with your day. 2 p.m. Right, especially in the summer. It's Europe. You're like, I want to be down at the pub, sinking pints with the bros. That's so me. Splitting the G. All the great stuff that people do. I've heard at pubs. But no, I'm at home watching a Formula One race. Speaking of Formula One races.
Okay.
One really weird one, and then one back to basics Formula One race. I don't have that many feelings on the Australian Grand Prix, but we haven't talked about it. Did you have any strong feelings about it?
Let me bring up the results. I remember.
Okay, good.
I mean, the big thing for me was like, McLaren out the front 1-2, and then whoopsie daisy, Oscar's not really leading anymore. That's a bit of a shame.
This was his year, and now it's not his year.
We have not had an Australian driver on the podium in a Formula One race for 4 points in a championship, literally ever. So it would have been nice, but oh well.
That's okay. You should adopt a different home race, maybe Singapore.
We'll get to the next race in a minute, but it's if Oscar had made 3rd on the podium, I think he'd be leading the championship right now.
Yep.
Given he's very strong in the sprint, 1 in China.
Oh, did you see that clip from Karen Chandok from testing where he played out the 3 times in Lewis Hamilton's career? If it had gone differently, he would have been 11-time world champion. Oh,
well, I mean, I didn't see that, but I know that.
Okay, perfect. You know that. Great. Cool. That's all.
Well, doesn't everyone
know cool. That? Yeah. Whoa. Okay. Some of us don't remember all the things that happen in Formula One. As soon as they watch a race, it goes out of their brain.
Okay.
That's me. Not me. That's why this show works, because you remember the things and I'm just here.
I mean, it's a bit like, you can say the same thing for like Fernando Alonso, 2-time champion, but could have been 3, maybe even 4. Like things break certain ways, and I don't know, what are you going to do?
Exactly. Felipe Massa, what are you going to do?
Australian Grand Prix though. Any other? Yeah. I mean, maybe we could talk about the Australian Grand Prix and the Chinese Grand Prix as a single event.
Yeah, because one confirmed the other, right? Some of whatever you come out of the Australian Grand Prix going like, is this really what it's like? Are these really how the teams are? And then China kind of confirmed it, right? That McLaren, everyone after Australia were like, oh God, that McLaren is so fast and so good. We're in real trouble. But maybe they were cheating with a really flexy wing and a front. Oh, no, it turns out it's fine. And so everyone else is going to have to cheat.
There was a comment from Lando Norris where they were like, oh, did you have to change your wing because of that new directive? And he was like, no, we didn't have to change. Actually, we were fine. In fact,
it's
better than fine. Because we were not found to have been breaking the rules, that means we're not actually pushing hard enough. Yeah. We should be pushing harder. I'm like, oh my God. We're breaking everyone's hearts. it is going to be a one-sided constructors championship. George Russell just fluking it in there for 2 podiums from out of nowhere, having done absolutely nothing.
This is his whole career.
His way through, yeah. All of a sudden, doing very well and sitting quite high in the driver's standings too.
Yeah, like again, like I feel like for 3 seasons in a row, this has happened. Yeah. This has been happening. Maybe the whole problem was Lewis Hamilton this whole time.
Yeah, that's it.
Good on him. He's got bridesmaid energy. It's fine.
Man, it's you know how you sort of pay out on George Russell all the time, how he has a big punchable face and stuff. He's just so unlikable. He's just like a cringeworthy person in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
When the new F1 titles came out, someone was talking about. Obviously, he returns to the T-pose, which makes no sense anymore because there's no walls in the scene. Literally no walls. So he's doing it just to be cringe. Like he did it one year and everyone loved it. Then the next year he was like, yeah, but cool, but we had our moment. Enough of that. Put that to bed. And then the next year he's like, oh, but I brought it back. It's like, dude, who cares? If you're going to bring it back last year. Anyway, the point was people were like, I can't pinpoint what color his eyes are, whether they're hazel or sort of like green or maybe like sort of amber, kind of piss colored. And I was like, oh my God, piss colored.
Yeah.
Punchable face and piss colored eyes. Like talk about being born under the wrong star.
Where is his face? Zoomed in a lot.
Where is his face? George Russell, I color what is ?
Well, the more you zoom in, the smaller it gets.
Funny that.
No, they're just kind of black, like a shark a lot of the time.
Doing great on track, but just, has an annoying face.
Do you reckon they just film lots of versions for those titles and then the production staff pick one? So maybe he got fucked by the production team into being like, hey, just do it for one silly one, last one, give us the T-pose.
Yeah, we won't even use this one. This is just one.
Definitely not using that one.
This is one for me to show my mum. It's like then we use that. Part of it too is how long.
Hey, Tsunoda, why don't you put the Red Bull top on just in case?
Let's just try one with you in a Red Bull suit.
We just do it for all the Red Bull team drivers. We just get them in both colors, just in case something.
I think it was Franco Colapinto said something like, "Oh yeah, I went in and shot my driver intro," and everyone was like, "What do you mean? What are you talking about?" He's like, "Yeah, just in case. If something happens, they can just sub me straight in."
Yeah, Daniel Ricciardo.
Then I wonder, do they have edited versions with all the different, or do they just at the last minute, copy paste Colapinto in? We need a 1.5 second clip of him doing whatever.
Yeah.
And how do they know what uniform to, what racing suit to put him in? How do they know?
I put him in the green one, and then they just Photoshop it in.
Oh, just the green screen.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic. The race is good. I mean, good win from Oscar, I thought. And even though it got to a point where Norris was, telling the team, I've got brake problems. They were like, please look after, please don't look after your brakes because you will not finish the race if you don't look after your brakes. He was like, fine. I was going to win, but you guys want me to finish second. Fine. But he didn't look like he was going to be able to threaten Oscar. So I think it's unfair to look at that with a bit of an asterisk and be like, oh, Oscar Piastri maybe would. It's like, I think he was dominating that race. I don't think there was any way Norris was going to get it back from him. But equally, Norris qualified well in Australia and won. So I mean, they both had a good, strong weekend already, which is ominous.
Yes, I hope we get a nice big fight between them.
That would be great.
But I think that now the car's so good that they both should have good weekends all the time, barring anything weird crashes and thus. But I've seen from other teams in the past, right? If you can qualify 1-2, there's just way fewer crashes for you. You can just kind of give each other a little bit of room, or someone gets off the line, and everyone's so careful these days. Like no one likes driving into anyone else because it costs so much money, and there's all these cost implications, and everyone drives really carefully for the first few laps, and then they go into tire saving mode. And fuel saving mode is what you're meant to do, unless you drive a Ferrari, of course, and you don't know how much fuel to save. This was mad. This Ferrari thing, because I thought we were past this. I thought Fred Vasseur came in and went, right, everybody, cut the shit. We know the rules. Don't fuck around with the rules.
Cheese 3 meals a day. Everyone's going to be heavy. Everyone's going to be taking extra weight in. We are not going to be underweight ever.
Oh, but Lewis Hamilton was so heavy, he pushed the skid block right down onto the ground the whole race. Wore away too much of it. Yeah, he's been enjoying the Maranello life too much. I know what it's like. It's a hard life to ignore.
That was the thing for me, was that not just that both cars got disqualified, was that they got disqualified for two different reasons. Just a real shit show.
I, I mean, especially if you're those two drivers too. Like one, Leclerc has been like, I feel like this team is the only reason I haven't won a world championship or more races. And Lewis Hamilton is like, I came here expecting it to be more organized, not less organized.
The best meme was of Leclerc and Hamilton, but as Bart and Milhouse crawling into the tunnel, and then Milhouse says to Bart, "This is where I come to cry." um, just not great. And I mean, unfortunately, after the disappointing results on its legs that they got in Australia, and then bouncing back and Hamilton taking pole and winning the sprint, you were thinking, well, this is it. This is the start of the charge. Yeah. And then they were not on the pace. I mean, they were okay, but not really on the pace in China. But everyone was like, well, look, that's okay. Some positives, and we turned around some of the negatives. Fine.
Yeah.
Then double DSQ, and it's like, yo, what the fuck? What the fuck's going on here?
Don't worry. Lewis Hamilton's going to win in Monza this year. And that'll be the thing that they point to as a good, successful year. No, it's not going
to win that one race. And they'll be like, that's why we paid you $1 billion.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe they can fire their merch designer and get a new merch designer too, because, oh my word, that happened really fast. Yeah.
What a day on the internet that was.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. They pulled it, right? They pulled all that white creamy merch. I think they did. Maybe they didn't. I thought they did.
I saw people literally buying it like as a joke, like, ha ha ha, I'm going to buy the Jizz hat or whatever. And it's like, really, dude? Like, just as a funny thing, not because they wanted it, they're buying it for the joke of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it worked. Someone spent some money. I suppose that's what they were trying to do.
It's one of those things like, we're talking about it. So it was good.
It's all good as. Yeah. But maybe we should have known, right? As soon as that merch came out that Ferrari were on for a bad weekend. They're back to making their old mistakes. Strategy's not looking good either. Yeah.
I don't know why, if their car was underweight, they didn't just do what Norris and Verstappen did, which was drive in the mud.
Yeah.
Please pick up some marbles and also get some mud.
Yeah, you got to get the mud in. So yeah, McLaren going to win it all. Of course, we would say that after 2 races. They're also just really racy. Like, they're also very far in front as well. Like, when this has the, when Mercedes is winning all the time and like 1-2ing often or relatively close, that it never looked like they were winning by like 25 seconds. That just didn't happen. It doesn't happen in Formula One anymore. Everyone's like, just conserve everything all the time. Make sure there's no mistakes so that you just win by 3 seconds. But as you said, it just didn't feel like Piastri had to work very hard at it. And it just buys you everything in Formula One these days. You can be more relaxed in your pit stop. Do it in 4 seconds. It's going to be okay because you've got the pace. Just don't be too hard on those curbs, all those kinds of things. But remember when it was like, Charles, don't hit that curb at turn 12 or whatever. Yeah. It's really hard. And I'm thinking, he was like, I'm hitting the curb. Go away.
Try one where you don't hit the curb, and he was like, "No."
How about that's way slower?
Try not hitting the curb.
Yeah, you got what? You don't want me to drive into the thing?
But then someone said that he tried one where he didn't hit the curb and he was faster, and they're like, "Ha ha ha!" And then later he was like, "Tell me where I'm slow," and they were like, "You're slow in turn 9 and 10." And he was like, "Yeah, I know. You told me 100 times." And it's like, "Well, fucking do it, man."
I love it when the race directors get us a little bit of audio where it's obviously the 30th time they've told them someone, and they're like, "Shut up,
man! Tell me something different."
Yeah.
Love the team standings, especially down the bottom, because you've got obviously Ferrari 17, Haas Ferrari 14 points. That's just objectively hilarious. Aston Martin 10. Kick Sauber, who I had on scoring 0 points for the whole friggin' year, sat only on 6 points.
I know.
Racing Bulls on 3. Alpine on 0 points. Now, this is true. That number of points is the same number of points that I have.
Yes, same, actually. Look at us.
So that's not many.
Is that the same as Liam Lawson's points as well? I think it might be. No.
They're sitting around going, how do we claw back Kick Sauber with their genius strategy of scoring 6 points in 2 races?
This also doesn't feel like it matches the narrative, because if you'd asked me who looks racier than you thought, I would have put Racing Bulls further up the field, but it's not that. It's not that at all. Williams.
Well, they had terrible strategy. Racing Bulls have had terrible strategy.
Yeah, that's
terrible.
True.
2 stopping when everyone else is 1 stopping.
How is that going to work? Their drivers are. You know, and they're like,
Yeah,
who's in
they
the car
forget.
this week, guys? How
God.
heavy are they? Do we know?
We told Lawson to come in, except he's not driving on our team even. Yeah, we still told him.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We get everybody's key
Very
metrics.
strange.
Williams, though,
So
talk to me about Williams. We haven't got them on the on the notes, but is this a match made in heaven? Carlos Sainz Jr. and Alexander Albon, the
well,
cast-offs.
what have we seen so far? Well, I mean, the big thing wasn't it Australia where Sainz broke down and then he was making strategy calls for the team, and they were like, "You should wait till this lap to pit him. He's losing grip. Pit him now." All that sort of stuff. And they were like, "It's so great. This is why we wanted Carlos in the team, because he's just helping us in every way that he can."
Thank God.
Cool. Scores a point in China. Carlos Sainz does scores a point in China on the back of multiple disqualifications ahead of him. So like, I can't get a read on this yet.
No. Oh, I know what you mean. I can't get a read on it either.
Might be good. Don't know yet.
Could be good. Could be good. I reckon,
could be good.
Fine. No, 2 races is not enough information.
They're smashing it out of the park. I love it.
They're doing a good job.
Nothing to fault them on.
Yeah, that's right. Mercedes, man. I had said that Kimi Antonelli was going. We can do a bit of rookie chat if you want to. I know you had.
Yes, rookie chat.
I had said that Antonelli would perform better than Grussel in my wild predictions on our season season-ending beginning show with yes, and so I am wrong because I've forgotten about the Grussel effect, which is just be there and good things will happen. The perennial Bradbury, as you said. So Antonelli, the other Kimi, what do you think? Tell me, has he got it? Do we expect to see him at Red Bull at some point in his career?
If he's unlucky for his sins. Yeah. I mean, he seems to be doing okay. Doing better, maybe better than some people thought. But that's based on what was that based on? Like he did one practice session FP1 and he crashed and everyone was like, this guy sucks. So well, clearly he doesn't suck, but he got unlucky one day. But it was funny that he got unlucky that day. But I mean, it's too early to tell still. But I mean, it seems like he's relatively steady for a rookie coming straight into one of the front running teams. He's doing all right.
Yeah, it's fine, right? It's totally fine. Tell it to me about someone who's not doing well. Who out of all of the rookies, when you without looking at results, you glance at the names, do you go, "Oh, haven't heard nothing. I don't even know who that guy is."
I mean, all right. So obviously, I've just written out some of the rookies here that I could remember. Had forgotten Kimi Antonelli, but I knew I'd forgotten someone. In my own.
Don't worry, I brought him up.
Count Liam Lawson. He hasn't even done a full season yet. But if you count Liam Lawson, he's done the worst. And then, I mean, everybody else, Behrman, Hadjar, Bortoleto. Hadjar hasn't scored points yet, I don't think.
No, Behrman has.
I think Behrman has, yeah. Bortoleto, I think, might have as well.
Where are the drivers' standings?
It's like, I mean, not necessarily points equals, well, you've done a great job. But on the other hand, that's the fucking point. So
nothing for Bortoleto, nothing for Doohan, nothing for Lawson.
I was going to say Doohan. Doohan is the other one that I'm not...
Hey, but also, the guy who's going to replace him has no points either. So,
absolutely true.
If you had to pick between the two, one of them's got the C. One of them has done nothing so far.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like they've all done okay, maybe except Doohan, who has just been sort of rocky. And then Lawson terrible.
Lawson, Doohan,
so Hadjar, I mean, he
don't have any points.
Hadjar broke down before the Australian Grand Prix, and then had a sprint, had one race, but I mean, it's just not much to go on, but seems okay.
Yeah. Okay. So broadly, they are reflecting their cars, I would say, at this point. Antonelli's in a good Mercedes. That's nice. Behrman, the Haas is better than we thought. Probably better than he thought, but he's driving it well. That's also true. And so is Ocon. So good for them all round. I think that all of these drivers will be going like, please, just a nice, clear race week when no weird rain or no weird anything. Just give me one
weird anything, please.
One regular weekend, please. I wonder if Doohan will get fired. I think he probably will. It's a shame. Because there's pressure on him too, because if Gasly was scoring points, maybe it would be a little bit of Constructors' Champ pressure taken off. But if you have to change something, you're not going to change Pierre.
As long as there's nothing to lose, it seems inevitable, right?
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. That's true. This weekend, Japan, Yuki Tsunoda obviously on for the win. A reasonable hour, 6 a.m. for me.
Look it in.
That'll probably be what, a 4 p.m. race start,
Yes,
something like that.
3 p.m.
3. Oh, is your time changing this week? Perhaps.
No. Oh, well, I don't know, actually. I just
must be.
I trust on my phone. I have
The calendar
this,
app
like F1
is sorting
calendar,
it
but
for you.
it's never
It
been wrong in
knows.
about 11
Yeah.
seasons.
It's never been wrong. Yeah,
And
it's the same
I
subscription.
can't buy a new phone because I lose that calendar.
I don't even know who provides it. I don't think it's Formula
That's right.
One.
It's
Some
not
random
even a
guy.
thing. It's the guy. It's
Yeah. He does all the sports, actually. He just goes
Mohammed
through.
bin Salem himself sets it up. It's his calendar.
Oh, right. I've got 2 broadly F1 related things to talk to you about,
Strap
but
in.
I don't
This is
know.
going to be great.
Do you want to hear them?
Yeah.
Okay, first one. I don't know if this is on other media platforms, but I want to shout this guy out. So this is Full-Time Formula, full.time.formula. I don't know the guy's name. I could have told you, but he's going to every single Formula One race this year. Lives in the UK. He's a lovely chap. And he's mapping all of this stuff out on TikTok, which is where I found him. Thank you, algorithm. And he's giving updates about 2 things: how much leave he's using and how much money he's spending. So he's giving himself a budget of £15,000 or something for the year. And just his normal
seem anywhere near enough.
This is it, right? And his normal leave allocation. But it's all these updates, like this is how much I spent, this is what the food was like, this is like how I got to this race, this is how I'm stringing into the next race, I'm back to this part. It's really good. So Full-Time Formula, seems like a good chap. He could do with a few more views. I mean, some of them are getting, but even just like the weekend at the Chinese Grand Prix, 270,000 views, and it was just nice because hey, like, I mean, the other one's got 20,000, but that one's magnitudely different. But it's cool stuff. So if you want to see how someone, relatively, I'm not going to say normal, but is not a journalist and is not a paid influencer, is trying to go about this, it also is very normal. Like, I'm staying at this very normal, cheap hotel. I'm not going to buy that much food at the track because I don't have all this money to save or spend. I don't know his normal circumstances, but these are the visa costs. This is how I'm like a lot of fun admin that I'm interested in. And genuinely, I think if you watch this stuff this year, next year, you'll probably go into the year thinking about how you might get to some of these races. I think it'd be very useful. So good on you, Full-Time Formula.
Can't believe that his budget is 15 grand, 22 races or whatever it is. Like, the math doesn't even.
Yeah, but European races are incredibly cheap to get to.
I guess you just get a taxi or something straight.
You ride a bike here or something. He's probably got an electric bike, mate.
Get a Lime scooter or something and just go. Yeah,
scooter or something.
Take the channel.
Maybe he's got friends in those places. Doesn't have to stay in hotels. Like things like that. They help. I said I had 2 things. I can't remember the second thing now.
Awesome. Good job. Anything I can do to like prompt you? Like we're talking about this, or I don't even know. Just kill time while you think of it. Something related to Formula One, or was it completely a tangent?
No, it was related to Formula One. How come I forgotten?
Something TikTok related. You've seen?
Did I send myself a note? Let's see. I might have done that.
Okay.
No, I sent myself that TikTok. No, it's a shame.
That's a shame.
That's a damn shame.
It's always the very best things that you forget and you never remember them again. It's a damn shame. It almost makes the other 48 minutes of this podcast look like total dog shit because that would have been the best thing of it. But now it's gone.
Mean about it. I don't like that.
Trying to, I don't know. Like
you're trying to pump something out of me.
I'm trying to pump you up and get you angry so that it comes out.
Yeah, it's this, you stupid idiot. It was always this. I didn't want to bring it up at the start because I thought we'd get into it later.
I'll say this. Tickets went on sale for the IMAX premiere for a Formula One movie. And I thought about buying tickets, but I did not. I still do want to go to IMAX and see it, but won't be going first weekend.
How much for tickets?
I don't even know. It's probably $70 or something.
Wow.
Some crazy number. IMAX stuff is not cheap.
Whoa. Was Brad Pitt actually going to be there?
I mean, essentially, but better than that because he gets to like he drives you home as well.
Oh, what a legend! I remember the other thing, so we can keep talking about the Formula One movie. But
that's right.
I've written it down.
Oh, the other thing about the Formula One movie, it seems bad.
It does seem bad. Also, no excitement at all.
There's no new trailers that came out and everything for the season launch. So here's a new trailer. And I was like, oh, this looks bad.
Yeah,
why did you make this?
So if you were a listener noble and loyal and admirable listener, if you're expecting to hear our takes about this as it has been playing out, take our silence as how engaging that stuff is, because it looks like junk.
We'll have
And
to
I
go
don't
and
know what
see
I was
it.
expecting, but
I,
of
I,
course.
if we see it and then I do a live stream and you're not on that day or something, I won't talk about it. I'll wait until we've both seen it. We're both on to talk about it. But man, I've got low
I'll see it when it
expectations.
comes out. I'll maybe Picture House near me will be
Okay.
showing it, or maybe I'll treat
Lovely.
myself. You know what I'll do? I'm going to make a day of it, and I'm going to go into town and watch it in town, so I can get like a bubble
Paint the
tea
scene for us. Tell us
beforehand.
the whole day. What
All
happened?
day.
What's the first day of a treat yourself day?
So
What's the first thing that happens?
first things first, right? Going to the movies on your own can be a bit of a treat because you can really look after yourself. Okay,
I think so.
Absolutely, real look after yourself.
Judgment free chocolates are plenty.
Oh man, I'm going to do like an 11 a.m. screening if I can get one, something like that. An AM screening, so I can come out dressed for lunch. But first things first, treat yourself to a nice big coffee, a really good coffee. You know, something. And look, maybe you go to one of the big chains to get a really weird coffee, like something's full of caramel, some sugar to really get you pumped for the cinema. And then I'm going to visit M&S, Marks and Spencer. Go on Marks and Sparks, get myself some treats, some really good treats in there, some home brand lollies, sweets, candies. Well, they're all M&S brand. That's the whole point, right? It's all Marks and Spencer brand.
Their brand.
I'm going to get some chocolate-covered things. Maybe I'll get a little tub of the Rocky Road or Flapjacks or similar.
Sure thing.
And then a nice little drink treat to take in, to secrete upon my person.
Walk into the movie. Any treats? Oh, no.
No, definitely not. I'm all good. And then I'm going to get there really early. Like I want to see all the trailers because I want to see what Formula One is matching up against this trailer, right? Is it the Gran Turismo sequel? Who knows?
Is it like Avengers Doomsday or whatever it's called?
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm going to forget to write down because I wouldn't use my phone during the film. So I'm not going to remember all the bits that I really care about that I should bring back to the podcast, which is a real shame.
Just whispering voice notes.
Yeah.
Remember to talk to Rod about how the woman engineer's name is silly and generic.
Yeah. God, not based in because as if a woman would be at a Formula One team. Christ.
She just met Brad Pitt in her saying this is stupid.
No one knows this is Brad Pitt. Why are they treating him like not a celebrity? Why isn't it Patrick Dempsey?
They said that he crashed at Eau Rouge when it was that other guy. Fucking stupid.
Oh, man.
This movie sucks.
I'm definitely going to be not that guy. I'm going to get swept up in it. I'm going to try my best to be really positive about it. So when we do talk about it, at least there's something to talk about.
Well, if we set the bar low enough, it'll surprise us, right?
Yeah. And then afterwards, I'm going to go get ramen and have a beautifully poured Asahi from Bone Daddies. That's a real treat.
Beautifully poured. I love that description of a beer. Beautifully poured.
Beautifully poured. Yeah. So that's going to be my day. I look forward to ragging on this film with you. Do you want to know my second thing that I'd forgotten?
Yeah.
All right. So on the TIFO football podcast this week, there was a journalist on talking about, so James Montague is the journalist, predominantly a football journalist. But he's written a book called Engulfed, How Saudi Arabia Bought Sport and the World that has just come out.
Wow.
Which he's previously written books around sport in the Middle East and how it's attended or sports washing or these kinds of things. But until recently, Saudi Arabia has been basically closed off to the world. They've opened up and they have also a really interesting history about how the current crown prince got to be the crown prince. And there's a good book called The Kingdom. There's also a good documentary, I think, made by Channel 4 or in conjunction with it, you can go and watch. But if you are looking to learn a little bit more about how Saudi Arabia is influencing soft politics and soft power and the world through sport, go and listen to the most recent or one of the most recent episodes of the TIFO football podcast or buy his book. That's James Montague, Engulfed, How Saudi Arabia Bought Sport and the World. I just got a notification 10 minutes ago, which made me think of it, that mine's been delivered. My signed copy downstairs. So I'm looking forward to reading it. I felt a bit, I ordered it halfway through the podcast and then listened to the rest of the podcast. I was like, do I need the book anymore? I was like, no, that's
I
not
thought you ordered it through our podcast and then 40 minutes later, here it is. While you were prattling on about something, I was sitting here on my phone ordering a book.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll let you know any more about it, but he's a brilliant journalist and it's going to be really interesting. And so I would encourage you to follow him.
Definitely. I will at least listen to that podcast, if not get the book. And I may still get the book, but I got a lot of reading to catch up on. Is this, are we going to wrap up soon? Can I do, instead of movie talk, can we do book talk?
Of course, please.
God, in my hot little hands. I mean, we've name dropped Talking Heads before. This is Talking Heads. There's a preview copy. Talking Heads in the New York Scene that transformed rock by Jonathan Gould. Coming out in a couple of months, but I'm going to be interviewing Jonathan Gould soon, so I've got to read it ahead of it
What are you doing
coming
on
out.
here? Quick.
You won't believe this, but I'm not allowed to sell this copy. This is verboten that I sell it. This is for my eyes only, this copy. This is proofs. A very renowned author written a book about talking heads, and I'm going to be interviewing him soon. That's not even that big of a deal, but it's interesting, and I'm going to read it.
Yeah. Would you write a book on TH?
I can either confirm or deny that I have aspirations for doing that.
Ooh, I'd read it. I'd buy it. I mean, I'd hope I get one for free.
I'll send you a copy. Don't even worry about it.
I heard from
there's plans in the works. Let's put it that way.
You heard it here first.
Want to make things happen.
Man aspires to write book.
Yeah, I mean, unless the publisher decides to sub me out for a better author who knows more, and I go back to the other.
Just make sure they don't get that copy of that book, so they don't know that one already exists. Please make sure. Gee, that would be really good. My friend, the author, Rodney Gordon. Wow. I've heard that once you're a published author, you get on the lists of you get preview more often are likely to get preview copies of books. You're on the list then.
So great, especially the influencer lifestyle is so great. All you have to do is put in thousands of hours, and sometimes you get sent a $29.99 book. It's so good. Get on that lifestyle. Get on that hustle grind set, everybody.
A book that you probably would have read that one, but I know we've been sent stuff. I was like, would I have bought this and read this? I mean, maybe.
But anyway. There's another opportunity to. Anyway, that's another thing.
Take it offline, Rod. Take it offline.
Okay. Well, look. Let's finish the show that we're definitely doing. We're not just having a Zoom call. Two mates having a Zoom call.
People listen to this, right? Yeah.
Japanese Grand Prix. Do you reckon another McLaren 1-2 this weekend?
It's a tricky track. Is it going to rain? No, because it's later March. We getting early cherry blossoms. What does the haiku say? I should write one for that.
Sure. Yeah, we should.
Yeah,
that'll be make it a TikTok. Record one and send one to me.
Make it a TikTok. Man, no one ever says that to me.
Just post a TikTok, I guess. You've got the login, just make it and do it.
Yeah, I'll just do it myself. I'm not busy. Yeah, I think it's going to be a McLaren win and podium. I don't know if it'll be a 1-2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think George Russell might come second.
I don't know. I feel like this is George's week. He's been all around that victory.
Maybe the McLarens will crash into each other. That'd be nice. I mean, not nice, because I would like them to win the Drivers' Championship.
We haven't had any drivers. I mean, we've had drivers make contact for the same, like Leclerc and Hamilton make contact, but hasn't been a big one driver got wiped out because of another driver or something.
No, everyone's too careful, Rod. The cars are too big, and everyone's too careful. That's why. Everyone's busy saving their tires.
That's one of the big things is with V10s. Bring V10s back, you reckon?
Yeah.
Hamilton said, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, why not? They're saving all this. You know what? Switching to whatever, I don't think it's saved too much money. I think the flying loads of cargo around the world is more harmful to the environment, and maybe all of your sponsors being oil companies is maybe harder for the environment than, how aspirated are the engines? Wow. Sorry, everybody. Don't know who that character is, but they're yuck. I don't like them. No. I don't like me for doing it.
I can handle them. I can put them in their place. It's fine.
Good. Yeah, V10. Yeah, make the cars really loud. No, put the revs back up. That's what I want. I want high revs. I want 18,000 revs. I don't want these. I want. That's what I want. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well,
everyone wants
what I can do.
That's what Eddie Jordan's last words were: "Make the cars rev faster."
Should do it for Eddie.
EJ to his mates.
What would EJ have done? What would EJ do?
Yeah, he would have made the. It's www.edg.com.
All right. Well, speaking of websites, our website is www.superlicense.fm. Zach, this week, and the FM stands for
Fun Machines. That's what they used to be.
Yeah. Bring back the fun machines, I say.
Yeah, exactly.
You can follow us on Threads. You can follow us on TikTok. You can join the Discord. You can do all kinds of things, but there's links to all of those on the website. You can join the Patreon. Thank you so much to everybody that does that. If anyone else wants to join, you're more than welcome.
More than welcome.
Just chip in a couple of dollars and you get early access to the podcast. We'll send you a link before it goes public and stuff, but also you get the satisfaction of knowing that you made all of this happen.
Yeah. I could afford to get a haircut, maybe, you know?
Yeah.
If only we had a few more Patreon subscribers. I can afford to get a haircut.
If only.
If you
This
want
is
Rod
like
and
a
I
GoFundMe.
to start saving up to go to all the races and beat that other guy who's doing TikToks about them, instead it
Yes.
could be me and Rod together.
All we need is
Oh,
30 grand
each
combined. Yeah, I'll have to
USD.
bunker Zach's the rest of the year, but that's all right.
That's fine. You come to my house for all the European races.
Yeah. So we'll,
Yeah,
we'll do that. Yeah.
done.
The Rod and Zach World Tour
Sweet. 10,000
2026.
more. If we could just get 10,000 Patreon subscribers,
So
it would be
easy.
so sweet
Nothing.
and good.
Silly not to do
Jordan,
that.
if Jesse Thorne can do it, why can't we?
Yeah. Well, any other final thoughts, Zach, before we wrap this baby
No,
up?
I'm super excited for Japan. I'm gonna sort myself out with some fun Japanese breakfast snacks. Pop down to
Ooh.
the overseas aisle at Sainsbury's. Get myself something yum.
Is that where all the secret stuff is?
Probably. I mean, I could actually no. You know what? There is a new Japanese little market in Stoke Newington. I'm going to go there. Get myself something yummy.
Yeah. Nothing beats going somewhere you've never been before.
Exactly. That's my whole raison d'etre.
One of my problems is that I bought some pods before the Chinese Grand Prix. No, before the
And you're
Australian
waiting
Grand
for me
Prix.
to share them with you.
Well, I sat down to eat them, and then you remember the start of the Australian Grand Prix. There was numerous red flags and stuff. So literally before the race started, the whole bag was gone.
Oh, it's popcorn at the cinema. It happens.
It's
We
true.
don't get a lot of
Everyone
regular
gets-
Australian Grand Prix, do we? Grand
It's kind
Prix.
of true.
It's always something weird going on.
Yeah. Oh well.
Okay.
We'll see how the Japanese Grand Prix. See if that's a normal one. But I'll start playing the music. Until next time. My name's been Rod.
My name effervescently is Zach.
See you next time.
Bye.
Yeah.
Good timing.
Sweet.